A major winter storm, unofficially named Winter Storm Fern by the Weather Channel, is currently impacting a huge portion of the United States as of January 24, 2026. This massive system is affecting roughly half to two-thirds of the country's population, between 160 and 235 million people, across more than 33 states, from the southern plains in Texas all the way to the northeast and into parts of Canada. Meteorologists describe it as one of the most widespread and potentially historic winter events in recent decades, with a near 2,000-mile stretch of winter storm warnings and ice storm alerts issued by the National Weather Service. The storm brings a dangerous mix of hazards: heavy snow, damaging ice, sleet, and bitterly cold Arctic air. In the south, from Texas to the Carolinas, catastrophic ice accumulations of 0.25 to 1 inch or more are expected, which could cause widespread tree damage, power outages lasting days, and extremely hazardous roads. Cities like Dallas, Memphis, Atlanta, and Charlotte face the highest risk of prolonged blackouts similar to past events. In the Midwest and Northeast, heavy snow dominates, with 6-12 inches common and up to 25 inches or more possible in parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and New York. Travel disruptions are already severe. Airlines have canceled nearly 4,000 flights over the weekend, with major hubs like Dallas, Atlanta, New York, and Boston hit hardest. Major carriers such as Delta, American, United, and Southwest have issued waivers allowing fee-free changes or delays through at least January 28th. Highways and interstates are closing or becoming impassable due to ice and snow, and schools, businesses, and even early voting in some areas have been canceled. Governors in states like Texas, Kentucky, and New York have declared states of emergency, activating National Guard units and staging utility crews to respond to expected outages. Utilities like Duke Energy and Appalachian Power are preparing for multi-day power restoration efforts, especially where ice weighs down lines and trees. An Arctic blast is pushing wind chills to dangerous levels, as low as 50 degrees Celsius in the plains and Midwest, increasing risks of hypothermia. The storm began intensifying on January 23rd in the Texas Panhandle and Southern Plains, with impacts spreading eastward through the weekend and lingering into early next week. While no widespread fatalities have been widely reported yet, officials warn of life-threatening conditions and urge residents to stay off roads, stock emergency supplies, and monitor local alerts from the National Weather Service. This event draws comparisons to the 1993 Storm of the Century due to its massive scale. Forecasters continue to monitor as Fern moves east, with potential for a nor'easter-like finish in the northeast. Stay safe and prepared. Power outages, travel chaos, and extreme cold could persist for several days in many areas. A massive and historic winter storm, unofficially dubbed Winter Storm Fern by the Weather Channel, has plunged much of the United States into chaos over the January 23rd, 25 weekend of 2026. This sprawling system is impacting an enormous swath of the country, roughly 160 to 235 million people, half to nearly two-thirds of the U.S. population, across more than 33 states, stretching from Texas and the Southern Plains all the way through the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and into the Northeast. Meteorologists are calling it one of the most extensive and potentially destructive winter weather events in modern history, with a nearly 2,000-mile band of active winter storm warnings, ice storm warnings, and blizzard conditions rivaling the infamous 1993 Storm of the Century. Air travel has been devastated. Airlines canceled over 8,000 flights across the weekend, with approximately 3,400 already disrupted by Saturday, January 24th, and thousands more anticipated on Sunday and into Monday. Major hubs including Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, Atlanta, Chicago O'Hare, New York, JFK, LaGuardia, Newark, Boston Logan, and Washington Dulles have seen the heaviest cancellations and delays. Heavy snow, freezing rain, ice-covered runways, and strong crosswinds have grounded operations. Delta, American, United Southwest, and other carriers have activated broad travel waivers, permitting passengers to rebook or change flights without change fees through at least January 26-28 in most cases. One stranded traveler, rerouting from Houston back to Omaha via Los Angeles, captured the widespread frustration. If you live in the Midwest and travel in the winter, stuff can happen. The storm's single most dangerous threat is catastrophic ice accumulation across the South and Southeast. Freezing rain and sleet are building substantial ice, half an inch or more in many areas, with isolated spots potentially reaching a full inch, from Texas through Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas. This heavy clinging ice is expected to snap power lines, topple trees onto homes and roads, crush vehicles, and create extremely hazardous or completely impassable travel conditions. The National Weather Service has issued stark warnings of long-duration power outages that could last days in some regions. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has repeatedly assured residents that the state's power grid, ERCOT, is significantly stronger and better winterized than during the deadly February 2021 freeze that killed at least 246 people and left millions without electricity for days. Still, utilities across multiple states have mobilized thousands of line workers, pre-positioned equipment, and placed contractors on standby in anticipation of widespread failures. At least 14 to 18 states, plus the District of Columbia, have declared states of emergency. The federal government has positioned 30 urban search and rescue teams on alert, and FEMA has pre-positioned millions of meals ready to eat, hundreds of thousands of blankets, and hundreds of generators along the storm's path. President Donald Trump posted on social media that his administration is closely coordinating with governors and local officials, stating, "FEMA is fully prepared to respond, and we are monitoring the situation very closely." Beyond ice and snow, a dangerous Arctic blast has sent wind chills plunging to -40 degrees and even -50 degrees in parts of the Northern Plains, Midwest, and Upper Great Lakes. Cities such as Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit, and Bismarck, North Dakota, have seen schools, universities, and non-essential businesses close. Nearly 177 million Americans are under active ice, snow, or blizzard warnings, while more than 200 million are covered by extreme cold alerts. Vulnerable populations, especially the homeless, are facing life-threatening conditions. In Jackson, Mississippi, nonprofits converted warehouses into emergency cold shelters after regular facilities lost heat. In Detroit and other northern cities, organizations like the Pope Francis Center opened extra sleeping spaces for people forced to sleep in vehicles or on the streets. Public health officials stress that exposure to these sub-zero wind chills can cause frostbite or hypothermia within minutes.
The storm, fueled by a disrupted polar vortex pulling frigid Canadian air southward while drawing deep Gulf moisture northward, is forecast to linger through early next week, with the potential for a secondary low-pressure system to intensify impacts in the Northeast. Residents are urged to avoid all non-essential travel, stock emergency kits with food, water, batteries, flashlights, and blankets, charge devices, and closely monitor National Weather Service updates. Power outages, dangerous roads, and extreme cold could persist for several days in many areas. Stay safe, stay informed, and prepare for prolonged disruptions as this massive winter event continues to unfold.